Jay Glazer joining us here on the home of the Cowboys in the #1 air hot seat here, Las Vegas Radio Row. What's up, man? How are you?
How come you guys don't got a table, man? Everybody else got a table. You guys are standing up. What's going on with that?
Well,
you guys didn't pay your rent? What's happening?
Why sit when you can stand?
That's right.
My ass is sitting all day. You kidding me?
How surprised were you that Mike McCarthy came back?
I don't know how surprised I was by it. I don't think anything surprised me with Jerry. And honestly, I think, look, they didn't go out and really do anything in free agency last year. He did a better job this year than he did last year when you kind of look at it that way. And look what they did with Dak. I actually think it was a smart move not to just start all over again.
Why do you think they came up short? The different people you've talked to, your observations of it.
I don't know. I don't think they had the personnel defensively to do what they needed to do. So they got to do something. They got to really shore up their run defense, without a doubt. That's a huge thing. And man, I just think that they went out there. I think Dak you saw him. He was just tight, right? And but I do think, like, again, I think this is the first year you saw Dak take a huge step, and I think this is just the start. And you just think about like what McCarthy's done with quarterbacks, whether it's Aaron Rodgers, with Favre, and people just think, oh, it's Brett Favre. No, you had to like reel Favre in, so he didn't just go do his crazy stuff. And then what he did with Aaron after Favre left and came back and left and came back, and like that was an insane situation. And what he's able to do with him, and now obviously what he's able to do with Dak, the guy quarterback-wise there's not a lot of teachers left in this league. There's play callers, but not so many teachers. He's a teacher.
If they go into this year with both on the final year, like a lame duck year, does that make for even the Cowboys get enough attention? Does that make it to the point where even they can't handle that?
No, I think you guys are I always say like your backup tackle gets more attention than center fielder for the Yankees. It's unreal. Yeah. So no, I don't think so. I think that the more attention they get over there, I think the team kind of almost rallies with it.
Do you think there's a question about Dak's future now in terms of payment extension?
I don't know how they don't extend them with what the salary cap will be this year, but also we were talking about this guy being an MVP like a month ago, right? And then right, like
he's going to
high
finish
up,
top
right?
3,
and then a bad game in the postseason, and all of a sudden, man, he's not worth it. You know what? So no, I think they if they're gonna have a chance this year, I think they got to get him redone, bring his cap down, and go after people in free agency, which again they didn't do a year ago. Give him a chance.
Do you think that the McCarthy-Dak pairing, though, do you think they're either going to rise together or go down together? Like, are their futures inextricably linked for the Cowboys, do you think?
I think so, yeah. I think if Mike can get him to grow even more, get even more out of him, then I think Cowboys will be in pretty good position.
You obviously have all the connections. You know all the organizations. Our listeners, we have Jerry on 4 times a week. Our listeners, a lot of times, aren't happy with that. And they say no matter how long it takes, they're not going to win anything with Jerry Jones. It's the culture. Is there a Jerry Jones, just culture issue?
Well, I think that, look, there's the business of the Cowboys and then the winning of the Cowboys. And I think a lot of times they think that they could overlap and ain't no problem. But no, the business part a lot of times can get in the way of the football part. But also at the same time, when you're the most lucrative franchise on the planet, I ain't saying nothing to you. It's still a business, what you're trying to do. But you got to figure out, I think, somewhat a better way to almost separate the two out. But I don't know how you do that and still have them being as lucrative as they are.
Jay Glazer here on 105.3 The Fan. We've got a bunch of defensive coordinator names now. Michael Lombardi talked to us about Wink Martindale. They apparently interviewed Rex Ryan. We have been wanting Mike Zimmer.
Yep.
What do you think of the candidates? What are you hearing about any of them?
I would say Zim probably had an inside shot because he knows the Joneses so well, and him and McCarthy were obviously real good. I think Wink would be a great matchup over there, match with them also. I do know they want to stay with the same defense that they had under DQ. So, I think in the end, I would say that the leader right now, probably Zim, but this is also not me making a ton of calls asking, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you see them going
My
with
ass
somebody?
took last week off.
Do you see them going the route of a first-time coordinator? Is that or is that out of the realm of possibility?
I don't know because I haven't asked. Like somebody from their staff, that was brought up to me. Again, I heard about Zim, and some of these other guys too. I don't know the answer because I haven't asked.
With a guy like Rex, right, who's been out of the league for a while, I was in D.C.
I would see Zim before Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question was going to be about being away from the game. How much does it really hurt versus someone like Rex, anyone, however many years away, diving back in with the changes?
Yeah, well, how long's Rex been away? I don't even know anymore.
About 7 years.
7 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what he does to keep up. There are certain guys who are away from the game and they constantly work at it, They're still on the phone with teams. They're still doing. Teams are asking them for their input on things. So I don't know what he does as far as that's concerned.
Is his personality?
He's hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
His personality is great.
But like, is that something?
I remember one time we were at the Jets facility and they crazy glued. He always liked to go in as like peanut butter. And it would always go in like scoop out peanut butter, and they crazy glued it on him. And he was just sitting there for like 20 minutes trying to get this damn peanut butter drawer open it, and everyone was just sitting in the back just hilariously laughing. I happened to be back there that day, and I'm like, this is the greatest day I've been here. This is the best day in Jets history.
I'm curious, you mentioned the defensive personnel going out making more moves in free agency, the Cowboys potentially. Micah Parsons said something like that recently. He said, look, I don't know that we had the right personnel. I don't know that we had the right players. I think we need to go out there and get more players. Do comments like that from a star player like Mike, do you think that moves them?
I think when Leighton went down, that really hurt them a lot more than people realize. And they were able to – look, they lost Leighton and your cornerback.
Shan.
No, your corner.
Diggs.
Right?
Yeah,
and Diggs. Right? You lost those two guys. Those are huge names in that defense. And it's just like, okay, because what they saw with Deron Bland. But I think what they did with Deron Bland was like, oh, my God, they really coached him up. But that defense was to lose your two of your best players, probably two of your best 3 or 4 players. That's a huge hit for them. But they do need to shore up, I think, a lot of places on that team.
You were with Jimmy throughout all the Ring of Honor stuff, the Hall of Fame stuff.
Amazing.
What did it really mean to him? And can you just describe for our audience what that was like to see behind the scenes?
Well, I'll say this. Like, a lot of cool things have happened for me in my life and my career. But when it happens to your brother, there's nothing like it. And Jimmy's my brother, man. And I knew how much it meant to him. I knew how special it was for him. I mean, you saw us on our show the next day, and like the moment we started showing the video, he started crying. And you guys just know that hard Jimmy Johnson. No, Jimmy he shows his soft little underbelly when it comes to things like that. It was so special and so well-deserved. It's about damn time. And it was just, man, it's so cool to see him so happy and finally have that behind him. Was, I think for all of us, we say the best moment we ever had at Fox was when Jimmy got surprised that he was going to the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. That was the best moment we ever had.
Yeah.
And then it was cool after, man. We all went to this restaurant called Dan Tana's in Beverly Hills, and we go in there, and the whole place started singing happy Hall of Fame to him, like happy birthday. People throwing up napkins. A guy from ZZ Top was there. It was like it was like the Hangover for Jimmy Johnson. Yeah, it was fantastic. So it really meant a lot to Jimmy. And what's great about our show, man, what makes our show us, is we don't just together on like Sundays. Like, man, we spend holidays together. We vacation together. We go away in the off season together. We are brothers, and we fight like brothers. But more importantly, we love like brothers.
That head of hair ain't fair at 80, though.
Huh?
That head of hair is not fair at 80.
No, it's not. I mean, yeah. look who you're talking to over there, too.
At all.
Why?
Yeah, I got God's hairstyle. Like, God gave me this. I got no choice.
Jay, how can the greatest coach of all time be unemployed?
Because I think you look at how it is now, what works. Dan Campbell, D'Amico Ryans, Mike McDaniel, Sean McVay. It's, guys get beaten down constantly on their cell phone. Beaten down. Last thing you want now is get beaten down by that male figure in your life. And it used to work back in the day, and it doesn't anymore. And I'll tell you a personal experience story. I've coached 1,000 athletes in mixed martial arts, from football players to basketball to baseball to fighters. And about 4 or 5 years ago, Randy Couture, who's my partner and all this stuff, had a talk with me. I was getting this fight. He was just, I don't know if I can curse on here, but pissing me. Oh, man. And like, I don't know how many times I have to tell this dude not to drop his hands. And I was like, dude, how many times I can tell you don't drop your hands? And Randy finally said to me, hey, you got to change how you coach these guys. I said, what do you mean? He said, don't tell them what you don't want anymore. Only tell them what you want. Like, every time you tell them what you don't want, they think you're bullying them, getting on them, criticizing them. And they just need validation. They need to know you believe in them. So you got to see if you could change your style and start telling them what you want. And I wasn't able to in a lot of cases. My style was my style. I get frustrated, and, man, I think it's out of love, but I could see how an athlete today would think, no, this guy's just getting on me. And I think a guy like Belichick, he's not just, again, there's this air of paranoia that comes, right? And I said it during the season, I don't think you'd have a lot of places.
Wow.
Because there's a lot that comes in with him. It's not just Bill Belichick. It's that, paranoid Patriots way thing, and he's going to come in and probably want half the building out. And, like, man, a lot of these people are like, hey, I don't want to get, like, these owners, like, a lot of these people in my family, I don't want to get rid of certain people here. And so there's a lot more than just bringing in a coach.
So if it was a situation where he may not have wanted control like that, he just wanted to come coach the team, you still think his
I would
style...
take him 2 seconds.
But you still think his style would be a hindrance to some teams?
I think he's got to change certain things where you just can't beat guys down like that anymore. And that's, like, I had to talk with Dan Campbell about it. I'm like, Dan, what's great about you, and keep doing this, is these cats have nothing authentic in their lives anymore. Like, they're either comparing themselves to somebody else's filtered highlight. It's a fraction of a day on Instagram. It's not real. Or they're just getting crushed on Twitter all day long from, like, bots and, like, fake stuff. Like, could be like some 9-year-old kid in his mom's basement, but all their voices are just as loud. So I'm like, a guy like you, dude, who's just so authentic, that's what we need more and more of these days. But positive authenticity. The negativity, it just doesn't work like it used to.
Did you ever buy that Bill and Jerry Jones could work together, like Jerry said?
I don't know about that. I think they could say it on the start, but Jerry's still the GM over there, so I don't know how long it will last.
I saw you on McAfee earlier, and Dana White said he's putting on the greatest sports event ever at the Sphere. Do you have any UFC MMA insight to what he's going to do over here?
No, I don't. I heard he was going to do that a long time ago. I went to go see U2 over here, and, man, that was unreal. Yeah, I think it was incredible. That was unbelievable.
We'll let you leave with this. This is a selfish journalistic question because your career's connections. Yeah. And I've really been bad, 13 years, like going in the locker room and establishing the rapport with the players when it's like, okay, they know I'm going to want something out of them or, try to get inside info. What's your approach towards that if you're teaching a journalism class?
You know what, man? So I always tell people, don't ever go for the scoop. Go for the relationship. And for me, like, I'm here to actually talk about some ADHD that I'm promoting here, a drug called Qelbree, which is something I finally found that worked for me, which is non-stimulant. I always did the stimulants, and those screwed me up. That was my experience. But this Qelbree finally got me where I could, like, focus. I take it at night, actually, which is different.
Wow.
Because of the ADD, I would go in these locker rooms. I would just talk. And also,
Bobby.
I would talk to everybody, but not just the people who give me stuff. Talk to everybody. And you know what? Over time, too, like, I got one of the biggest scoops I ever got from one dude who's never given me anything before or after. Just got a out-of-the-box call from his wife saying, hey, this is happening. He wants you to have this. You guys have been friends for 15 years. He said, hey, might as well, if anybody's going to have it, let Glazer have it, bam. And it wasn't my intention to start this relationship so he'd give me a scoop. It's just that, man, the ADD got me to always want to talk. So that's what it is. Just have to be authentic. And then I don't think too many people have good give relationships. My whole thing is I'm going to give. If someone decides to give back, they give back. But I'm going to give. I'm just going to be of service to everybody in the world I come across.
Where else can our listeners find info about what you were just talking about?
Yeah, it's called Qelbree, Qelbree. And, yeah, man, it's a game changer. Like, I've tried over 30 anti-anxiety, anti-depression meds. None have worked, unfortunately. So I got to find other ways to kind of get the roommates in my head, talk a little bit better to each other, and kind of get this gray not to be so heavy on me. And for me to actually have some sort of medication that helps me with some of my mental health challenges is great. This was a game changer for me. I wish I knew about it 20 years ago before the other stuff kind of took over my brain.
Jay, thank you so much for the time. Enjoy a little bit of time off and some
Thank
Camus.
You, brother. Appreciate it, man. Camus, definitely, baby. Yep.
Jay Glazer, #1 Air Hot Seat, right here on 105.3 The Fan.